Hi guys.
Hey, Rajat.
Hey. Yeah, but the interface is pretty much the same so far. I have 9 attendees. Can you guys see the attendees? Or are you only
Yes.
seeing panelists? Okay, good. All right.
So you have divided the panelists and attendees.
Yeah, that's the difference, looks like.
Yeah.
And also, so for those of you guys are joining, I'm going to do some housekeeping stuff first because I'm also new to this platform. Remember, this is a trial.
Yeah.
So
And I can see that only one video is visible. So that is this control. That is how you run it. Is that correct?
yeah, something like, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So, and you can see my screen, right?
I can see your screen. I can see you also the side.
Okay, good. So let's see if Anusha joined. Anusha is joining. So I'm recording it.
Hi, everyone. Anusha joined.
Hey, Anusha, how are you?
I'm good, Rajat. Thank you.
So we have 12. Let's wait another 2 minutes for others to join.
Yeah, sure.
You can see that there are some of the Maxima guys are online. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining. This is a trial webinar. We'll start in a minute. So Anusha, you're ready to go, right? So so keep your, we're going to repeat exactly what you did or what you're doing for the test. Don't make any changes. Let's stick with exactly what you do when you test the AppZ installation.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So I need to do one more thing here. Give me a second, guys. So I have opened the Q&A session. So guys, if you have any questions, please click at the bottom. There is a Q&A. We don't have any polls for this session. So when you have any questions, please do post it there, and I'll pick it up and I'll answer that. So in the chat, I have one. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for joining. Patrick says happy to be here. Thanks. All right, so let's start. So this is a trial webinar. So thanks for joining, guys. As partners, we like your inputs in terms of, we want to keep you updated, as well as at the same time, we want to get your updates in terms of what you see here. And we want to fine tune this webinar, and also fine tune the product and the installation process to make it as smooth as possible. Just to give you an introduction about what we plan to show today. We had been working very hard here, Sanjeev and team had been creating this marketplace installation process where you will be able to go to AWS marketplace and find, once, currently it's only whitelisted accounts can see it. And we are in the process of adding more whitelisted accounts. So you'll be able to go find the AppZ platform in AWS Marketplace, and down the line, other marketplaces as well. So today we're going to focus on AWS Marketplace, where we want customers to go and find AppZ in the marketplace, and within about 60 minutes, we want them to be able to install a Kubernetes cluster, which is itself is a big task, and then move on to deploy actual real production quality applications into that cluster, all within 60 minutes. And again, we are in the process of fine-tuning this. I think we got it down to 60 minutes, and we'll see how it goes today. And then we'll go back. We'll do a series of webinars. I'll be happy. It'll be great if you can join the next. We'll have about few trial sessions. Please do join if you can. And thanks again for your time. And please post feedback so that we can fine-tune this. So today we are going to, as I said, we're going to install Kubernetes. It's a 2-node cluster, and we're going to deploy maybe 2 or 3 applications on top of it. And we're going to do that using our AppZ's unique installation process. And Sanjeev, do you want to add anything? Did I not cover anything? Please go ahead.
No, you have covered. I think only thing that I will add is, as I said, is that building a Kubernetes cluster is in itself a challenge, and we are building a 3-node cluster, and we are layering our product AppZ on top of it. So kind of like it's all the way AppZ, and you'll see the control plane, AppZ control plane, which will enable the true GitOps.
All right. So Anusha is going to show us she's going to walk us through the steps. So Anusha, you see if you can share the screen. I don't know if I have to give any permission to you or not, but you should be able to share the screen and take us through the steps. So before you start, let me just go to the next slide so we can kind of set the expectations on what we are going to show. So the Kubernetes cluster creation it comes with AppZ installed in it, and that's going to take about 30 to 35 minutes. And then we're going to deploy a tomcat application on top of that and a node application on top of it. If time permits, we can do one more, but 2 is what we are targeting today. So I'm going to stop sharing now. So Anusha, go ahead.
Sanjeev, I have actually one question.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we give the deployment apps parameters while creating the stack?
So Anusha, I would do exactly what you did on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just repeat that.
Yeah. Okay.
So the key is also to make sure that, we don't change anything, because I want to, when you're showing it, we want to make sure that we are comfortable repeating the same thing that we have done multiple times.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's so if you see anything that is not usual, something that goes wrong, it's okay. Just let us know.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sharing the screen now. Yeah, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So Sanjay, please jump in and to kind of help us out in terms of what Anisha is going through, please.
Anusa will be kicking off the Cloud Pharmacist template, and from what I call is a client account. So this is the account which we have set up as if a user is going to consume our product. Right now, C will be pulling the Cloud Pharmacist template from a S3 bucket because this client is not yet whitelisted. Right now, the only person who has access is that our own account. But I think in another week or so, C will be able to find our product in the marketplace and kick from there. So see, this is the public S3 bucket. C is going to pull the Cloud Pharmacist template from there and kick off the build process. Yep, take your time. And you can see that once we have the marketplace, this step is not required because you will be driving this from the CloudFormation screen. Uh, Let me quickly say, like while Anusa is filling the details, like why we picked up the CloudFormation. So we are building the cluster, we are layering the AppZ platform, but we wanted to make it easy. So underneath we have all the automations to build the Kubernetes cluster and AppZ platform, which is driven, which would be more or less would be the cloud agnostic. But cloud formations, like we will continue using the respective clouds strength in terms of keeping the consistency and provide the persistence for the stacks that get built. This cloud formation template is going to build three EC2 node and attach a couple of volumes. We have the option for that. What Anusha is doing right now is a public certificate which Amazon provides against the ELB infrastructure that we are using. We might be switching this to a public certificate, let us encrypt. So those things are coming. The size of the options we give, in this case, we are selecting the T2 extra large. This role is given to the EC2. So right now it is visible, but we will kind of like hide it. There's no point to keeping it here.
So right now, Sanjeev, we are using the advanced install, right? So
That
we
is
are also
correct. That
working
is
on a
correct.
basic.
Yep. Yep.
We're working on a basic install, and in one of the webinars in the next couple of weeks, we'll show how the basic install works. So we don't have to enter all this information.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So the advanced install is for an advanced user, probably a partner that's working with a client, uh, things like that. So
And
you can.
we also have the documentations that how to do all the steps which Anusa is doing. And as Rajit said, that we will have a like the easy install options where no parameter is expected from the user, and the cluster will come up. We have to just provide a stack name. For this, what you call is the advanced install. The some of the prep work that has been done under this account is a domain name. This account has a domain name called appzclient.com, and the URL. Anusha, you can give the parameters. We are selecting the dashboard which goes against like PSCL, the appzclient.com. A DNS entry will get created for the load balancer, which and underneath load balancer, it will be the master node of the Kubernetes cluster. As you can see, the resource creation has started.
Yeah.
So basically three EC2 instances. One instance is the kind of master / control plane, and two worker nodes across two different AZs, right?
That's correct. Yes.
So we are all about automating and low touch deployment, and also at the same time we want to make sure that the deployment is completely secure. So what you get is a production quality cluster without actually. So one of the things that we are very passionate about is to make sure that the underlying technologies, if you want to learn about it, it's okay, but you don't have to know Kubernetes or Docker to actually use this platform. But behind the scenes, we are actually using them, and the goal is to get a customer onboarded within a matter of an hour and start deploying real applications without the knowledge of Docker and Kubernetes, and meeting all the security guidelines and the benchmarks.
And
That's
we
great
can see
point,
the
Rajat.
installer. Yeah,
Yep,
sorry.
go ahead, Disha.
And we can see the installer process steps here in the log groups section.
Okay, that's great.
So by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, the first part takes about 30 minutes. So we are waiting for the cluster to come up. It's purely the time the Amazon takes to bring up the 3 instances and put all the software in place. So at this point, guys, any questions, please post it. It could be anything about Docker, Kubernetes. So where are we now, Anisha? So see a bunch of complete and in progress.
Yeah, sure.
And the whole idea of this automation, as Rajat was mentioning, is we do not want developers to log into an infrastructure, and that will also translate into when it is running at enterprise scale, that nobody should be logged into the cloud infrastructure to do anything. Ideally, uh, we are making cloud as a service. Uh, what cloud providers have done is the high level of automation within at the infrastructure level itself. What we are bringing is that another layer so that we can take it directly for make it consumable for the developer's point of view. All they need to focus on their applications, and the cloud is just a click away from their Git repo in a true GitOps model to deploy their application. That's the model that we are bringing.
So in a typical Kubernetes deployment process, so Sanjeev, can you talk about how is it different? Say, for example, if I know we install Kubernetes using, there are a bunch of tools out there, like for example, kubeadm and microkaters. So if somebody has to install this manually, what are the typical? I know we did that for a long time before we had this automation. So how is it different compared to somebody who would manually do it? And what are the
Uh,
pain points that we are trying to fix here?
that's a great question, Rajat. And as people who have like installed Kubernetes manually, and whether it's a Minikube or like the kubeadm, and there's so many variations out there, it's a time-consuming task, and there's a steep learning curve involved there. Uh, what we are bringing to the table that yeah, Kubernetes is the infrastructure or the kind of like the platform where everyone is migrating to, but you don't have to kind of like the learn it. And if you want to learn, there are people who need to learn it for from an admin and the control perspective. But a regular developer who are focused on the day-to-day application development, they don't need to learn it. We bring the complete build cluster to them based on our experience, like working with the multiple clusters. What we have selected is the microkate implementation from the canonical is the best one, and it is easy, it is upstream, and that's the one we have selected, and layer automation, AppZ automation on top of that.
Okay. And so what is the version of Kubernetes that we're installing now?
Uh, we are installing the version 18, I believe.
Right. So Patrick or anybody from Maxima, any questions? I can unmute you if you want to ask a question, or if you want to type in the.
Is there a individual unmute or kind of like everybody can be unmuted? How does that work?
I'm trying to figure out. Oh, okay. It looks like, I have to unmute them.
Okay.
So we have, looks like there is a mechanism for raising the hand. So in my panel, it says there is, okay, I see one hand raised. That would be.
Yeah, that works.
Hey, Eugene, how are you? So do you have a question? Or
no, not really. Just
test it out, right? Yeah.
try to unmute because I also didn't see those controls. So yeah.
All right. So Eugene is, by the way, our all the work we are seeing here is Eugene's work. He's our installer automation engineer. He's doing a lot of good work in terms of taking the manual steps that we had to get AppZ up and running, and along with Kubernetes, is automating all that. So Sanjeev and Eugene, this is mostly written using CloudFormation and Ansible, right?
Yeah, that's true. There are two parts of that process. First part is responsible for the infrastructure, and for that, in AWS we use CloudFormation. Of course, for our platforms we'll have something different. And the second part of the process is the software installation, Kubernetes installation, and all. Those steps were done in the Ansible playbooks mostly. There are also a couple of scripts, but in general, that's Ansible.
Because what we are seeing in the screen now are the logs coming out of Ansible, right? These are different tasks within Ansible, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So one of the things that we, as I mentioned earlier, every cluster that we bring up, we want to make sure that it's production quality and it meets all the benchmarks. So we make sure that all the images are scanned and it's clean in terms of vulnerabilities. And at the same time, one of the challenges that most enterprises and customers face today is keeping the Kubernetes and Docker itself as a system process clean. So what we do is we use Kubebench and Docker Bench to ensure that both Docker and Kubernetes is installed and configured correctly. And we also plan to as part of this installer, we are going to enable automatic alerting when something goes, something changes. For example, if let's say, ideally we don't want, or you don't have to have a customer's system admin log into the VMs or EC2 instance. They don't have to even see them. Everything can be done purely through GitOps once it is up. But if they were to go log in to one of the instances and maybe for troubleshooting, maybe doing something, some cleanup, if they go in and if they make a change and if that makes it vulnerable because of bad configuration changes or a mistake, we also want to alert through, for example, in AWS, it will be coming in as through CloudWatch. So we are in the process of enabling all that, and right now we are going through the fine tuning of the different security and vulnerability scans to ensure that it comes up with all the right configuration. As you can see, it's doing a lot of things. It's waiting for something to come up. So the AppZ control plane itself uses a ton of technologies in addition to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is where it is deploying. But, and I think in the next webinar, we'll also cover some of the architectural details of AppZ. So behind the scenes, what is happening is it's installing Kubernetes, of course, and then it's installing the AppZ control plane. The AppZ control plane mainly contains an engine, which it's kind of the orchestrator of everything. And this engine would need a RabbitMQ to keep its different, it has about 20 microservices. These microservices talk to each other using RabbitMQ. And all the state is saved in Cassandra, all the logs. So there are two different states that we store. One is the Kubernetes cluster information and configuration that is stored in the etcd. And when it comes to deployment logs, all the collected metrics, things like that goes into Cassandra. So it's bringing up all those pieces. And then we have a dashboard where, Anusha is going to soon log into that. In that dashboard, we use Angular. And with Angular in the backend, it's the sessions are stored in MySQL or MariaDB. So those are the pieces that's installing. So just to give you a list of things, we're installing Kubernetes. It's a 2-node cluster. Then we have the engine, the Cassandra, the RabbitMQ. Then we have dashboard and the dashboards store, which is MySQL. Did I miss anything, Sanjeev?
No, I think that's a great summary, Rajat. And why don't you tell us a little about the history of AppZ and also how much time it used to take to install the AppZ in any client environment and where and compare it with what we are doing now.
Yep. So we started installing AppZ early last year. And once we get a VM or set of VMs, it's a manual process to install Kubernetes first. And initially we started with kubeadm. And again, if you guys are interested in learning about Kubernetes, these are some of the things that you want to Google. So kubeadm is a reasonably good tool. That's where, anyone who wants to learn Kubernetes, they should definitely start there. That kind of gives you an idea what brings up, what components are installed and how they're installed. Kind of it gives you an insight into all that. So we started with kubeadm, and it took in a really optimized situation, it would take us at least 3 to 4 hours to bring it up and install AppZ on top of it. We started optimizing it early this year. We switched from kubeadm to microkates, and you can check this out. This is a upstream distribution upstream distribution of Kubernetes that's done by Ubuntu. They started it as a developer's tool, but now it's became more a production grade distributable. So if you were to bring up a Kubernetes cluster today, I would highly recommend using microkates on your desktop or on a cluster. Now, even microkates, it takes it takes a little bit of skill to kind of get it up and running and configure it the right way, right? So let's say you use microkates, you're now talking about, instead of 3 to 4 hours, you're bringing it down to maybe hour and a half to bring up a cluster and make it useful. And even microkates doesn't actually it gives you a default installation. It still need to be fine-tuned in terms of getting all the security and CIS benchmarks set and configured properly. So we started doing this manually over a period of 1 year. We did several installations, and we took all the lessons learned from that. And Eugene created this automated installer. Now, this installer is capable of one of the uniqueness that this installer brings to the table is this installer can work in any cloud. So as you can see, in this case, it is installing in AWS. the way it's installed is AWS kickstarts the process using CloudFormation. And once the AWS infrastructure is in place, the IaaS part is done, now it is going to hand over or delegate the installation work to installer. So our installer is, again, it's a Docker image. It's going to run within the engine machine. And that takes from, once the CloudFormation is done, the control is handed over to the installer. The installer takes it from there. So what we are looking at now is the installer's log of bringing up the cluster and the components.
That's great, Rajat. And just to add to that, that as you said, that if we get any 3 VMs in any cloud, we will be able to bring the exact same cluster, MicroK to the Kubernetes cluster and the AppZ platform with the dashboard control panel on top of that within an hour. And using this methodology, we will be going into other marketplaces very soon. The next marketplace or next cloud that we are looking into are Linode and IBM. Tell us a little about AppZ. What does the Z stand for, Rajat?
AppZ is the word, the name came from AppZone. So the whole idea behind AppZ is based on the lessons learned from State Street Cloud, where we implemented, Kevin, myself, Sanjeev, we were working there, and we created this private cloud from scratch. And it was back in 2008 to 2010-11 timeframe, and we went live in 2011. And we learned a ton of things, because when we started this, we were looking at, or the task that was given to us was to see, can we repeat what Amazon is doing in AWS? That was a challenge that was given to us. So we tried different options and finally came up with a process where we automated everything on top of a Red Hat KVM. And so the primary lesson that we learned there is building all the infrastructure and automating it is all good, but the developer or the business, they don't really care about any of that. They want their applications to run. They really don't care about what automation you're using, what cloud you're using. They don't want to know. They all they want to know is, hey, how their application, is it running? Is it reliable? Is it running in multiple regions? And does it have an endpoint that the user can use? And that endpoint is live all the time. And if something goes wrong, can you just fix it so that, as much as possible automatically? And that's it, right? So, and after I left, Kevin and myself, we left first. We did some consulting around with other companies. We learned that everyone is going through the same problem. The automation that the cloud providers give us is purely infrastructure side, and developers and the business have to spend a lot of additional hours doing the same exact thing to bring up their applications. So what we decided to build is an application-centric solution, which means you come in with your asset as a developer. We will do all the hard work for you. So that means it's an automation platform. We call it AppZone, which is fully application-centric, where I say, I'm a developer. I have 3 or 4 or 100 components, and I have Git repository for all of them. I just want to deploy it and run it. But I want to have some control over, what components, how the components are written, what underlying layering we need in terms of middleware tools and Java VMs and things like that, and libraries and things like that. So we created this AppZ platform to basically cater to that need, which is, hey, I have a project, I want to deploy it. Whenever I deploy it, I want to make sure that it is deployed into multiple instances whenever I want it, and it should run reliably. So that's where this idea comes from. It's basically, if you compare our platform with the competition, the primary differentiator is all the competition out there, they're all infrastructure centric, which basically means every developer, every company, after getting that platform, has to spend a lot of time, either their own employees or they have to hire some consultants to bring it to the level where they can use it. So that's what we are trying to solve. So for us, the goal is, once you have the basic infrastructure or the cloud account, within an hour, your applications should be running. And that's what we're trying to achieve. So now it looks like, Anusha, we have the engine running and we have the dashboard up.
Yes, Rajat.
All right. So Sanjeev, you want us to take us through where we are now, and maybe there
Yep.
are a few more components to come up.
That's correct. So once we install AppZ platform, by default, two core components, apart from the what Rajat mentioned, the 20 microservices, like those are already running on the master node as part of the what we call is the core engine components. And we have two cluster components. What you deploy are like log collectors. The log collectors is a set of three services: Elastic, MongoDB, and the Graylog. They constitute together as our log collectors, and they enable the log collections from the infrastructure side as well as the application side, visible from our dashboard, as you can see. Another core component that we deploy on the cluster is Vault. It's a HashiCorp Vault. And the idea is that any secret that needs to be stored, whether it's the cloud account secrets or like the application secrets or the certificates, everything needs to reside in this vault, which is yet to come. And that kind of like makes the environment more and more like the secure. We do not want any password to be left in the GitHub or like any other, or even the file system. Uh, if you scan, like if you try to, within AppZ cluster, if you try to find the password anywhere, it is not possible. That we completely, everything is in the vault. And even if the password is there on the text file, we have the ability to mask it so that it will not be visible from the dashboard.
So these are again some of the challenges, right? If you were to look at any cloud migration or modernization in any enterprise, small or large, application is one part of it. They need infrastructure, of course. We are automating that. Then comes a lot of best practices that for a developer, it's a pain to implement, because it's mostly they expect the infrastructure to have those. Like, for example, number one, secret management. That's an important service, especially in today's world. There is a lot of bad actors, and they're looking for a developer to make a mistake, right? And again, we have seen when we review customers' source, developers, since they don't have a built-in ready-to-go secret manager, they end up embedding all the secrets within the source. And it's a matter of time before that those secrets get to bad actors. So what we have done is we took it a priority, because security is important to us. We created a very easy to use Vault integration, where you just indicate, you can put all the secrets from day one into our Vault, and by purely declarative model, you can consume that from your application. Very easy to do. That's one. Then other thing that we want is, when the application comes up, of course, we want to run it reliably. So we enable self-healing, auto scaling. So the developers simply need to indicate and we're going to show that in a minute, how many instances you want, and we just keep it running, keep that many instances up and running. Once it is up and running, one of the challenges that developers have today, which is also creating a lot of security issues, is that you want to see how the application is running. They want to see the metrics on how the resources are utilized by their application. Again, they don't care about other applications. They want to look at how their applications are performing, and they want to know, hey, I wrote something in the log. I want to see that log, right? In today's world, what happens is we have seen it again and again. The infrastructure team simply gives the developers access to the underlying infrastructure. That's a dangerous thing to do, because those privileges that they get in terms of accessing the underlying infrastructure, it could be through direct access. That's a worst case scenario. They just give them access, SSH access to the VMs. That's bad, and especially when you're in Kubernetes, it's even more dangerous. Number two, they could give them into like an account like Splunk or CloudWatch. Even that is difficult because it takes there are provisioning involved in terms of roles and responsibilities and things like that. So that takes time. So what we have done is we gave that all out of the box, fully integrated with all the same roles and users and roles built in. So when you log in, you will see only your application. You will see only you can only retrieve secrets from your application's vault, and you get all the observability that you want in terms of metrics as well as application logs.
That's great, Ajit. Can I ask one of the attendees to ask a question? I just want to see that how it appears. Because as a panelist, I can just see the questions coming. So I want to see that how it comes so that we can answer it.
So I see another, give me a second. So I lowered all the hands now. And anyone from the participants, right? So our attendees, can you use the question and answer session to ask a question, please? We just want to see the.
Yeah. How does that
Maybe
look
Patrick,
like?
you can. So I know you are using chat so far. Is there a question and answer panel that shows up? Q&A? Anyone?
I can see at the bottom. So attendees, can we see that? Do you have a Q&A at the bottom? Nagesh
I
can
have
see. Yep.
one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nagesh says yes. Yeah. Good. And then in the next webinar, we'll also add some polls so we can see how the polls.
That's correct.
Work.
Yep.
Right.
That's good.
All right, Anusha, where are we now? The vault is coming up?
Yes, Rajit.
Okay.
The vault is up.
And Anus, I believe we are deploying 2 demo applications also.
Yes, Sanju. It has
Okay,
to be up. The demos.
Okay, so at this point, once the vault comes up, our AppZ and Kubernetes installation is complete, correct?
That's correct.
And
yes.
And I'm not sure if I kept track of the time, but I can go back and look at the recording. So did we complete that in the 30 minutes? I think we did.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything that we discussed today during that waiting time, we need to have some presentation material. We'll work on that, right? We can take some of our architecture. Okay. So this hello world tomcat that we did. So what we did now is, this is we just wanted to repeat our automated testing process, but in the real demo, we want to fine tune it so that we can actually see how this repo is getting deployed. So this is a hello world tomcat application getting deployed. So Anusha, can you go to the repo and show how this this project is configured?
Yeah. Sure. All right. This is a Git repo, and here it is the Tomcat 9 deployment file.
All right. Now let's start with the webhook. So can you go to the settings? Okay, click on webhooks on the left-hand side.
Left-hand side, fifth
Yeah.
item.
Yes.
And so this is where all it starts, everyone. So once the cluster comes up, in this case, we used a pre-configured URL, but in the customer's case, they will get a new URL. They will get through email after the installation is complete. So after the 30-minute installation, we expect them to have that email with instructions in their inbox. And in the email, there will be this link to their webhook. So the idea is the customer would then, or the developer would then go to their repo and add a webhook pointing to that URL. Now let's go to the project. And Sanjeev, you want to walk us through the projects, the AppZ YAML and.
Yep. So as you can see that this is a typical Java project Git repository. You can see the pom.xml, which is the Maven build. You can see some of the source file and the settings and all, some build properties. So in this case, it kind of like any typical like the Java project, you might have your own similar to this. What we do as part of the AppZ platform integration is add a file, AppZ YAML. This file is a contract between the Git repo and the AppZ platform, so that the applications kind of like the go live using the GitOps model on the AppZ platform, which will be running in any cloud, even the private one. So let me quickly walk you through the contents of the AppZ YAML. As you can see at the top, we have some like app section, and it's a YAML, so it's a pure declarative. You can easily understand what we are doing and make the necessary like the changes and customize it. So app is some values that you are giving, the name and the code and the notification mail. The build part is how the app is getting built. In this case, it is the pom.xml build, which we take from the Git repo and create the war file. And one critical part in this is the template. This is the image template, which in this case, it is the Tomcat 9. This is our, I would say, the secret sauce, another like item which enable applications team to focus on the code base only without worrying about the infrastructure. So AppZ platform is a Kubernetes cluster up and running. Now the applications team want to kind of like the Dockerize their image and take it live. So for that purpose, either they have to learn the Docker and layer the image, and they may make mistakes, like they may get the from the open source the wrong code, or there's a steep learning curve to that process also. So we take care of that aspect also through what we call is the image template or AppGS stacks. So Tomcat 9 that you see is a curated uh, Docker image template that has the operating system, that has Java 11 and Tomcat 9. It is ready with full, I would say, the resiliency and the logging and monitoring enabled. Applications just need to use this image and layer applications on top of that using this AppZ YAML.
So one more point I want to make there is, Sanjeev. So it's so the key here is, if you look at, so can you go back to the parent folder?
Yeah, sure.
So if you look at the repo itself, right? So the repo is purely what the developer, if you're a Tomcat developer, you know what this is. Now, if you look at closely, there's no Docker file, no Kubernetes manifest, no Jenkins file, nothing. Instead, all you have is this AppZ YAML, and that's all you need to deploy this. Now, for every image template, we have a corresponding repo that you can look at in terms of as a sample. So if, let's say if it is Springboot, if it's Node.js, React, doesn't matter. We have a sample for it, and it basically looks like a standard project of using that that type of technology or that library, right? So the key is the developer or the person who is deploying, right? They don't have to learn Docker. They don't have to learn Kubernetes. In this particular case, this is deployed as two instances, two pods into Kubernetes. We take care of managing the lifecycle of the pod and making sure that the all the other plumbing is done so that the traffic can reach that application. So at this point, Anusha, can you show us the application itself? Uh,
Yeah.
Go to that URL where this application is running. So so here now the webinar started and it's 52 minutes. Within 52 minutes, we have the cluster running and an application running within that cluster as well. Now, and let's now go to the dashboard. So Sanjeev, why don't we have about 8 minutes. Let's quickly go. So do we have the node also running now at this point?
Node also should be running. So let's take a quick look.
Okay, here is a node application. So we deployed both applications. And now let's, Sanjeev, let's quickly walk through the dashboard itself.
Sure. So as you can see that apart from the core components, we have another two line items. So one is for the hello Tomcat and another for hello node. So let's see that hello Tomcat, we have, as you can see, there are three sections out there. Hello Tomcat, first it is deployed in the dev context. The dev context here, alpha dev, is the Kubernetes context that we have created on the cluster that we built. We have ability to go to the dashboard and add additional context. And since it is dev context, the deployment will go straight through from build to deploy, no kind of like approval workflow. If it is like QA and prod, we enable the workflow, approval workflow as well. So Anusha, can you can you pull and as you can see that the build part, and this build happened without any commit. The reason being is that this is a demo app, which is kind of like getting the self-deployed, and and as you saw the repo, we can commit a change and it will redeploy with some additional changes if we have make in the repo.
Sorry, Sanjay, I lost you.
So in this case, there's a no commit involved. That's what I was trying to explain. And as you can see, this is a zero commit. And
Yes.
the build
So Sanjeev, let's do this, right? So since we have 6 more minutes, right?
Yep.
Why don't we do a commit now? So,
Yep,
right now,
so
let's go quickly to the Tomcat app running. So on the right hand tab.
So the right side, yeah.
Yeah, go to the tab. The running.
Yeah, sure.
You already have the tabs up there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So right now you can see, the background is blue. The value of nano on the top right hand side of the second bar is 70, right? So let's go and change it and let's commit.
Yep. That will be a full life cycle.
And we are changing from the script, but it's okay. Let's show that. So we have a brand new cluster. We have two applications running on it already. Now we're going to make a commit to make sure that the webhook is working and the true GitOps is in action. So here, let's go to AppZ YAML. Yeah. So let's make a change to change the background color to green. So one of the things I also wanted to show was, if you scroll down, see, you can see a couple of things here, right? So we, as part of the AppZ YAML introduction into a repo, we are giving the developer an option to externalize all their configuration. So these are all properties or system property. When it comes to a Java application, this becomes system properties within the Java VM. Now you can see at the line 37 and 38, there is a password. And again, this for demo purpose, we introduced it. So here, you can see that, hey, I'm not actually hard coding the password. This is your source, and you don't want any secrets in clear text. So what we have done here is we are just saying, hey, here is your password. Just say, vault : the value of the password is just vault : and the key. And the platform automatically figures out, based on the context under which it's running, it will go and find the vault and automatically inject that property into the Java VM at runtime, and without any clear text, no logging anywhere. So it's completely secure in terms of how we handle or take the secret from the vault and directly inject into the JVM. And that's very unique to our platform. Yeah, right, that's good. So let's commit. So we're going to change the background and we're going to commit. We're about.
Yeah, but you have to make the change. Anusha, can you make it green?
Yeah, sure.
Unless, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And no commit. So let's go to the dashboard now. And refresh it. As you can see now, there is the commit and the build has started. So why don't we look into the running logs?
Yeah, 1 second. So I want to also show the so if you look at that, yeah, close that please. So go to the click on the number 2 next to the bills. And click on the arrow next to the commit. So on the last one, there is a commit, right? It says one commit on the top.
Yes.
Yeah, click on the arrow next to it. Oh no, we are going off the topic. Sorry, Anusha. So yeah, so close that. Now click on the arrow next to the commit. No, click on the number 2.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
See, it says one commit. Yeah, arrow. Click on the arrow. So you can see Anusha committed that change. So click on that again.
Oh.
Right. So now you can see the actual change Anusha made. There you go. All right, you can close it. Now let's complete. We have 2 minutes. Let's see if it is completed the deployment. Go ahead, Sanjeev. Sorry.
Yeah, so the build and the deployment, as you can see, that we also started getting the notifications. The emails are coming. The deployment is also successful. So why don't we take a look at the live screen now? Tomcat Hello World. Yep, it is deployed.
And you can see the color has changed, and it's a new version now, 0.3.2. All right. So we have 1 minute. We are right on time. Hey, I think we can conclude now. So, hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us. And again, our team also, thanks for joining us. I think this is, I want to also take this opportunity to thank our team as well as the partners, especially our team in, getting the product here. This is the work of almost, a couple of years now. We have been working on this. Amazing job. I think this is kind of the first cut. It's just the beginning. We are going to keep investing more on this platform to get a better experience for our developers and our customers. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. So we will be scheduling a more like this. So please, I know it's 1 hour of your time. Whenever you can, please join. So we'll have probably once a week until we fine tune this, or maybe once in 2 weeks. We'll let you know as we make progress with this. and keep you posted, and I will send you the link to join the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.